Hello Muslim friends of the world. In an inspiring story that has touched many, an Orthodox Jewish man from France decided to embrace Islam after delving into the meaning of Surah al Qiyamah from the Qur'an. This story began when the man, whose identity has been kept confidential for privacy reasons, started seeking answers to spiritual questions that had haunted him for years. The man reportedly grew up in a devout Orthodox Jewish environment. However, during his life journey, he began to experience a deep unease about the meaning of life, death, and the afterlife. Despite strictly following the teachings of his religion, he still felt that there was something he didn't fully understand. One day, while conversing with a Muslim friend, the man was introduced to Surah al Qiyamah, one of the chapters in the Quran that discusses the Day of Judgment, the resurrection of the dead, and the final judgment. Captivated by the beauty of the language and the depth of its meaning, he decided to study it further. Surah al Qiyamah, which translates as the resurrection, describes in detail the events that will take place when the end of the world comes, and calls on humanity to reflect on God's greatness and His power to bring the dead back to life. This message touched him so deeply that he began to feel a sense of conviction he had never experienced before. "I couldn't ignore the sense of peace and certainty that arose after reading that chapter," he revealed in an interview with local media. The message conveyed was so profound and aligned with the questions that had been troubling my mind about life and death. After studying the teachings of Islam for several months, the man finally decided to recite the shahadah, the Islamic declaration of faith, and officially embraced the religion. His decision was warmly welcomed by the local Muslim community, who praised his spiritual journey as a genuine search for truth. This story has garnered attention from many people, particularly in France, where Jewish and Muslim communities live side by side, although often marked by social and political tensions. For many, his story is seen as proof that the search for spiritual truth can transcend religious and cultural boundaries. To this day, the man remains actively involved in the local Muslim community, attending Islamic study sessions, and hopes to continue deepening his understanding of Islamic teachings. He also expressed his desire to become a bridge for dialogue between the Jewish and Muslim communities in France, so that mutual understanding and peace can be achieved. This story serves as a reminder that guidance can come at any time and to anyone, and that spiritual searching is a personal journey that can lead to the path of truth for those who sincerely seek it. A surprising phenomenon has occurred within the Orthodox Jewish community in France, where several of its members have begun to show interest in exploring Islam after reading and reflecting on verses from the Quran, especially Surah al Qiyamah. This process began with one deeply touching personal story, and now more members of the Jewish community are following the path to embrace Islam. The phenomenon started with the story of an Orthodox Jewish man who first became interested in Islam after studying Surah al Qiyamah, a chapter in the Quran that describes the Day of Judgment, resurrection, and the final reckoning. His story, which went viral, inspired many people within the Orthodox Jewish community, who began to question their beliefs and seek answers in Islam. Surah al Qiyamah provides a very powerful explanation about life after death and God's sovereignty. "It made me rethink my spiritual life," said one former Jewish follower who has now embraced Islam. The man, who was once a diligent Torah student, stated that Islam answered the deep questions he had about the afterlife and existence. As the story spread, several members of the Jewish community began to engage in interfaith dialogue with the local Muslim community. Some of them became interested in studying the Quran more deeply, including reading commentaries and attending Islamic study sessions. They were impressed by the simplicity and depth of Islam's teachings on Tawhid, the oneness of God, as well as Islam's holistic view of the afterlife. In recent months, the Orthodox Jewish community in some parts of Paris has witnessed significant spiritual changes. Several Jewish followers have openly converted to Islam after a long process of spiritual searching. They mentioned that Islam provided logical and reasonable answers to the questions they faced in everyday life, regarding God, the purpose of life, and the afterlife. I never thought of converting to another religion, but after studying the Qur'an, especially Surah al Qiyamah, I felt that this was the truth I had been searching for all along, said one former rabbi who has now become a Muslim. Although this change has not occurred on a large scale, the wave of conversions happening one by one has drawn widespread attention. Some other members of the Jewish community are now engaging in more open discussions about Islam and often seek guidance from their Muslim friends or colleagues. Many of them are attracted by Islam's values of justice, equality, and brotherhood, which they find aligned with their previous beliefs but delivered in a clearer and more profound way. While there has been tension in some parts of the Jewish community due to this wave of conversions, the increasingly open interfaith dialogue in France is seen as a positive step toward building bridges between the two religions, which have often been involved in historical conflicts. Some local Muslim leaders have welcomed this development and hope to continue strengthening peaceful and understanding dialogue between the two communities. This conversion also marks an important moment for Islam in France, a country with the largest Muslim population in Europe, and serves as one of the signs that the search for spiritual truth can transcend religious, traditional, and cultural boundaries. This phenomenon reminds us that the search for truth is a personal journey that can lead someone to a different belief, even within a community with a strong religious identity. This story continues to develop, with more and more people becoming interested in exploring Islam, especially after feeling the power of the message conveyed by Surah al Qiyamah. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, is not only viewed as a spiritual guide but also as a profound source of wisdom for human life. The word hikmah in Arabic refers to deep wisdom or knowledge that guides a person toward right actions and decisions based on God's teachings. Here are some insights, hikmah, that can be drawn from the Quran. The Quran is a source of guidance, huda, revealed by Allah to lead humanity to the straight path. Every verse provides direction on how to live correctly, encompassing aspects of worship, ethics, social relationships, and the management of wealth. By adhering firmly to the Quran, a Muslim can lead a life in harmony with Allah's will. Indeed, this Quran guides to that which is most upright. Quran, Surah al-Isra, verse 9. The Quran teaches the importance of balancing worldly affairs with the afterlife. A Muslim is taught to work hard in this world but not to forget the ultimate goal of life, which is the afterlife. This wisdom helps someone stay focused on eternal life without neglecting their worldly responsibilities. And seek, through that which Allah has given you, the home of the hereafter, but do not forget your share of the world. Quran, Surah al-Qasas, verse 77. The Quran emphasizes the importance of justice in all aspects of life, both in relationships with others and with the environment. Justice is one of the main principles that Allah teaches to create a peaceful and harmonious society. The wisdom of this principle is the creation of a balanced life, where everyone's rights are respected and protected. Indeed, Allah commands you to uphold justice and to do good. Quran, Surah An-Nahl, verse 90. The Quran, as a guide for life, offers profound wisdom for humanity. Each verse contains guidance not only for spiritual life but also for practical day-to-day challenges. Through understanding and practicing the Quran, one can attain happiness in both this world and the hereafter.